women. What's the worst thing you did when you were under the influence? Vomited on the train. It was nearly empty, so no passengers saw me. But the cleaner got on at the next station and started mopping it up. She was lovely, moved me along out of the way and gave me a drink of water. I was sobbing and just kept drunkenly saying, "I'm so sorry," and she was going, "It's okay, it's what I get paid for." But she and I both knew it wasn't. I laid down on my walk home to look at the full moon and fell asleep on the sidewalk. I was 22 at the time, and that's probably not the worst I've done, but the first to come to mind. 25 days sober today. Hey, congrats to this person on almost a month, and this post was 2 months ago, so hopefully they're almost at 3 months now. This one night, I'd had a little too much and had been making out with this guy. It started getting a little too heavy, and I decided to head home. Guy thought, understandably, that he was coming with me. He got his jacket, but by the time he came out, I was already halfway in a cab. It's also important to note that there were probably 20 people of varying acquaintance levels hanging out around the exits. Plus, obviously, the taxi driver was going to take me home. And drunk me felt it was an excellent idea to joyfully and loudly exclaim, "This was so fun, but no thank you, I'ma stay a virgin tonight." And then to top it all off, go into a little dance and sing like a virgin. I wanted to melt into the earth when I woke up the next morning. As embarrassing as that is, it also makes for a hilarious story. So thank you to this poster for embracing the cringe that evening and giving us all a great story. Proposed to someone who said yes. Had to explain when sober that I didn't mean it. Ending a long-standing friendship. For context as to how things even managed to get to this point, we were coworkers who became good friends and then later started flirting over the course of about 10 years. I found out that he was into me. I thought I might be into him. Alcohol made me jump the gun on figuring out how I really felt. He'd moved out of state before the flirting started, so it wasn't like we could really spend a lot of time together and date to find out or build an actual relationship. At the time, my inebriated brain thought, let's jump in and figure it out later. I become reckless when I'm a few drinks in. Afterwards, he got mad and ended the friendship when I walked it back. I really don't blame him for that, but thank goodness we were nowhere near Vegas at the time. Though I do blame him for texting me years later, after he received an inheritance, suggesting we run away together, while being in a years-long relationship with the woman he eventually married. Wow. This is why I'm opting to stay single for the time being. I don't want to end up just jumping into something with someone simply because they were the first to come along. I've done that. It can be great for a little while, but it never really goes well in the end. I do hope that guy's wife is doing well. I drove home hammered once. I didn't get pulled over or do anything wrong, but I had to drive through a construction zone with cones, and it was terrifying. I cried the entire way home. I will never drive in that state again. Also, I got with so many men. I preferred being wasted because uncommitted sex with men has always been terrible for me. This is a pretty recent story, like last week recent. I had an FWB coming over, and I've been to his place 2 times. We had fun evenings and nights, and this was the first time that he was coming to my place. Let's just say that second bottle of red wine did me dirty. I was in the middle of going down south on him when I felt the urge to puke. Like, now. I jumped out of bed, hit my left leg on the bed, hit my right knee on the bed, stumbled right into the wall, hit my head, and vomited all over said wall. It was blood red, and he was just stunned as to what happened, laying there. I ran to my bathroom and started projectile vomiting for over 2 hours. My bathroom looked like a murder scene. It was everywhere. After those 2 hours, I got into the shower and crawled into bed. After 24 hours, I still couldn't hold any water. I cleaned my bedroom and bathroom while taking puke breaks. Needless to say, this FWB situation is dead. To me, the real question here is when she mentions a second bottle of red wine, are we talking about a whole set of bottles just to herself? Because to me, that's insane. I can down a bottle of red by myself. 2 bottles, I'd be in the hospital. I get that the alcohol content is only about 12 to 14%, but it doesn't change the fact that is per standard serving. which for those of you who don't know is 5 ounces or 147 milliliters. A standard bottle holds 5 glasses of wine. That means this girl drank 10 glasses of wine just to herself. And if she didn't couple that with any sort of solid food, no wonder things went south. And I don't just mean on him. My roommate in college puked the blackest, most viscous crap I have ever seen in my life. My other friend and I thought we were exorcising a demon out of her, or her liver had decomposed or something. Anyway, we cleaned her up, threw her in the shower, and put her to bed. She woke up refreshed, and I was so pissed that I had to clean her demon puke. I had a similar situation at a small house party in high school. It was probably around 3 in the morning. Most of the people there had passed out, and I had gone outside to get some fresh air. Suddenly, my buddy comes out with a TV dining tray just filled to the edges with your stereotypical green sludge. He says, "Hey, can you wipe this on the lawn for me? The host just vomited from his bed across the room, and I had to use this as a shield. I'm gonna go deal with the room." So for the next hour, I was trying to scrub grass into the corners of this thing, which was wood by the way, having to find new clean patches of grass so I wasn't spreading it all around the tray, while my buddy dealt with the seepage on this guy's display cases and furniture. I didn't dare go into the room cause I wasn't feeling all that great either, and when the sun came up, him and I both buggered off. I was in New Orleans for my husband's 30th birthday and got absolutely wasted. He put me to bed and I guess went back down to the hotel bar, but at some point I got up and flipped the deadbolts shut. He couldn't get in. Thought I was dead because I was so zonked out that I couldn't hear him beating on the door. And I finally woke up at like 4 a.m. to the police and fire department trying to break down the door. I still don't know if it was me or the dog who peed and crapped on the floor. The dog is extremely house trained and only had an accident twice in 10 years, so my defense is kinda weak, but I still plead not guilty. Usually the difference between human and dog poop is pretty obvious. As I said, my defense is weak, but I still plead not guilty. I got hospitalized for near alcohol poisoning. I was passed out on the street. Ladies, always remember to eat something. I never believed that until it happened to me. I went from 0 to 100 real quick. That happened to me when I was like 15 the first time I got alcohol poisoning. It truly happens out of nowhere. One minute you're laughing and having a good time. Next minute you wake up to a nurse pulling out a catheter. I have a list. I went to a frat party and got into a shopping cart naked with whipped cream covering my bits. I also slept with my boss. Bought Arby's. I hate Arby's. Asked out a dude by telling him he looked like a serial killer, and he actually thought it was a compliment. I also told a pastor that I thought he was ugly and that his wife was pretending to like him. In the same vein, I went to church drunk for New Year's one year. And worst of all, I ordered a ton of sushi and forgot it outside. Well, I'm sure the magpies were happy. A group of us were hanging out in a park across the street from my friend's house. My FWB and I climbed over the fence for some alone time on the golf course. And when I was trying to climb the fence to get back to the park, my shirt and bra got caught on the spikes, and I kinda fell. Flashed all my friends in the park. One of my friends laughed so hard she peed her pants. Pretty embarrassing for me, but worse for her. I was out for drinks with my brother and a friend to celebrate my divorce. Our server's name was Lewis, and I kept on ordering margarita after margarita. I didn't have a car at the time, so I took advantage of the situation. Well, in my tipsy state, I nicknamed our server San Luis Obispo throughout the night. I thought it was funny and kept cackling while guzzling those margaritas. I didn't know how cringe it was until months later when I started working with Lewis. While I'd be polishing and rolling the silverware, he'd give me these weird looks whenever he'd pass by. I no longer work with him, but I will never forget that. I was blacked out, ripped the seat and lid off my toilet. Don't know how I did that. The same night, I puked in the bed and on the floor, but luckily, I also puked in the toilet. Not to mention, I posted a picture of my chest on Twitter. I'm glad my account is private, and 4 out of my 6 followers are inactive. I'm also glad that I was at home, cause holy shit. After that, I was way more careful about how much and how fast I was drinking. I told my friends it was too hot in the car. It was snowing outside, but I asked to be let out to get some air. We were in a Jack in the Box drive-thru. They let me out, and I proceeded to go to the bushes along the drive-thru and fall asleep. They had to carry me back to the car. Lost my house keys while at a club, and my inebriated brain said, sleep on the sidewalk in front of the house. My roommate was already asleep and had her phone on silent, so she didn't see my desperate pleas to let me in. I woke up to the cops nudging my foot. The year was 2019, New Year's Eve. I got so messed up at a party that I yelled at the cop who was patrolling the parking lot for degenerates like me and asked if he was the exotic dancer I ordered before falling down on the pavement. My husband had to pick me up and apologize while the officer was trying so hard not to laugh and just waved us off after he made sure I was not driving. Then I threw up on myself in the car and proceeded to sob that I missed my dog, who I later also threw up on. I injured my foot really badly. I don't even know how it got so bad. I went to step down from the porch, which is only a couple inches drop, and I was in flimsy flip-flops, which is admittedly my fault. The owner of the house gave me an ice pack for my foot, and I ended up passing out in the chair, only to wake up again 15 minutes later. Had a blast and kept the party going until 3 a.m., no pain. I woke up the next morning, and my foot was so swollen and bruised that I couldn't recognize it. There was blood all over my sheets and chest. Turns out we had a Roman candle fight, and I was like the Terminator, just charging forward, and I got burned. And I had to be at work at 9 a.m. So, worst thing, but also probably the best of my drunk stories. Okay, first of all, what is a Roman candle fight? Second, why was she bleeding all over the place if she got burned? Maybe I'm just stupid, but someone's gonna have to fill me in here because I'm lost. I have two that really come to mind. I only drink a few times a year, but all-inclusive means free unlimited drinks, so a few years ago, while vacationing at an all-inclusive resort in Cancun, I got way too knackered on tequila. Couldn't remember how I got out of the pool, across the resort, up the stairs, and back to our room. But let's just say my husband is a trooper. We got to our room, and I guess I couldn't hold it anymore, and peed all over the entrance and down the hallway, and under someone else's door. On the other trip, also to Cancun, my girlfriends and I got so wasted that I threw up all over the public enclosed bathroom stall, and my friend. She ended up throwing up all over me because of it. My mother-in-law was there, and got completely zonked, which was kind of par for the course for her. But she kissed me on the lips. I wasn't quite that many glasses in. I got back to the room and threw up all over the room and started crying. I also have a severe fear of throwing up, so it was rough. That was the first time I got a hangover, and it hit me hard. Do not recommend. When I drink beer, I might as well drink it on the toilet. It goes right through me. I already have a weak bladder, so the added pressure isn't good. One night, some friends and I went to this train track out in the country on a gravel-sided hill, and figured that was a good spot to go to the bathroom. So I had my shorts down, peeing, and my buddy made me laugh so hard I lost my balance on the hill I was squatting on, and rolled down the gravel, peeing all the way down. We were in our 20s, and in the prime of our lives. I now stay at home if I drink. Okay, now we hop into the rapid fire segment for stories too short to make a full entry out of, but too good to leave out. Let's hop in. I was at a karaoke bar and went to ask if I could sing You Ain't Woman Enough from Loretta, and the DJ said, "You already sang that song, dear." I went to bed after that. Some guy took me home and I barfed in his living room when he was in the other room. I took off running outside and down the block and hid from him. Cooked and ate an entire box of mac and cheese, then threw up vodka and Diet Coke colored mac and cheese. My ex-husband peed on our spare bed and got mad at me because he thought it was the toilet. Then he blamed it on the cat. Giving away my first kiss. I ate my sister's last slice of cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory. I felt so bad that I went and bought her 2 slices the next day. I tried to kiss a coworker. I cried into an enchilada. I challenged people on Thanksgiving to a game of Dungeons & Dragons. I've never played Dungeons & Dragons. Blacked out in Oklahoma after drinking an entire bottle of rum. Woke up literally 7 hours later in Dallas in entirely different clothes that weren't mine. So guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm ReddList. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.